Welcome to Redacted Reality. If the allure of the shadowy, cryptic, and mystical tales captivate you, then please subscribe and hang around. Chapter 3, Act First, Regret Later. The hotel room's fluorescent light cast a sterile glow over the cramped quarters as Joe sprawled out on one of the twin beds, remote in hand. He flipped through the channels with the rapid-fire precision of someone who had no intention of actually watching anything. Cooking shows, news, infomercials about knives that can barely cut through steel, Joe rattled off. Nothing about our heroic demon-bashing exploits. Journalism these days, I tell you. Sam sat cross-legged on the floor, meticulously wiping down his camera lenses with microfiber cloths. He held each one up to the light with dramatic flair, inspecting for imperfections. Maybe next time we should bring a film crew, Sam suggested, buffing a wide-angle lens with exaggerated circular motions. I can see the documentary title now. How to Exorcise Your Demon in 5 Easy Steps. Ellie snorted from her perch on the windowsill. Sketchbook balanced on her knees, her pencil moved in swift, absent strokes across the page. Step 1. Find angry colonial ghost. Joe counted on his fingers. Step 2. Dig up her bones in the middle of the night like totally normal, law-abiding citizens. Step 3. Confront ancient evil with nothing but some Latin phrases and sheer audacity, Sam added, placing a freshly cleaned lens onto its padded case with a flourish. Step 4. Profit, Ellie muttered, still focusing on her drawing. Joe abandoned the remote and rolled onto his side to face the others. Is it just me, or was that almost too easy? I mean, ancient demon of darkness and all it had was some shadow puppets and spooky voices? Well, don't forget the whole crushing weight of existential dread thing, Sam reminded him, mimicking a theatrical shudder. Though I've had worse anxiety attacks ordering coffee during rush hour. Maybe it was just a baby demon, Joe suggested. Like demon kindergarten level. Or maybe it was holding back, Ellie said quietly. The pen in her hand had been tracing the same pattern repeatedly, a crude doorway with tendrils of darkness seeping from its frame. Around it, she'd unconsciously sketched smaller figures, their forms twisted and reaching. Sam paused mid-polish. What do you mean? Ellie looked up from her drawing, blinking as if coming out of a trance. I don't know, just the feeling, like it let us win. Let us? Joe scoffed. We kicked its shadowy ass. On the television, the local news had begun. A reporter stood in front of the town library, her expression grave. The third unexplained animal death this week. Local authorities are investigating what appears to be ritual markings found at each scene. Sam's smile faded slightly. That's weird timing. Probably just some teenagers with too much time on their hands, Joe said. But his voice lacked conviction. Outside their window, a dog began to bark, the sound sharp and alarmed. Then another joined in, and another, until a chorus of anxious canines echoed throughout the night. Ellie glanced down her drawing, suddenly aware of what she had been creating. She closed the sketchbook with a snap. Maybe we should check in with Marcus, she suggested, reaching for her phone. See what he found out from the locals. You worried, Navarro? Joe teased, but his eyes tracked to the window where the barking continued unabated. Not worried, Ellie replied, her fingers hovering over Marcus's contact. Just thinking we might have only seen the opening act. Ellie contacts Marcus, who gives them a quick update on what he had discovered, and tells them to relax and be patient. They have a lot of research to do before they make their next move. Ellie's phone rang 3 times before Marcus answered. his voice muffled against the background noise of what sounded like the hotel lobby. "Marcus? You still at the tavern?" Ellie said, putting the call on speaker and placing the phone in the center of the room. "Just got back to the hotel," Marcus replied. "And before you ask, yes. I found some stuff out. No, it's not good news." Sam and Joe exchanged glances as they moved closer to the phone. "Define not good." "Define not good," Joe said, crossing his arms. Marcus sighed, the sound crackling through the speaker. "Let's see. The house has a body count that nobody wants to talk about. The locals treat it like Voldemort. The place that shall not be named. And apparently, our friend the judge was running some sort of occult book club with the social elite back in the day." "So basically Tuesday for us," Sam quipped, though his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. "There's more," Marcus continued. "I talked to a guy named Elmer, whose brother went missing after poking around the property, and a woman, Margaret, practically turned white when I mentioned the place. Oh, and Tom's going to reach out to some of the other folks in town, see if we can get some more specific stories." Ellie glanced down at her closed sketchbook. "We need to get back to that house." "Whoa, slow your roll there, Spider-Woman," Marcus cautioned. "We're not storming the castle tonight. We've got research to do, and lots of it. Whatever's in that house has been there for a century or more. It can wait another day while we figure out what we're actually dealing with." "But," Ellie started. "No buts," Marcus cut her off. "Lily's still at the library digging through records. Nick's got the journal he found. Sarah's connecting dots. We need a plan, not a suicide mission." Joe nodded reluctantly. "He's right, El." "Look," Marcus's voice softened. "I know patience isn't your strong suit, but we've got a good one shot at this. So tonight, we rest. Tomorrow, we pull what we know, then we decide what our next move is." The dog barking outside had stopped, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. "Fine," Ellie conceded, "but I don't like it." "None of us do," Marcus replied, "but better cautious than cursed. Get some sleep, guys. Something tells me we'll need it." The call ended, leaving the three of them staring at the silent phone, each lost in their own thoughts about what waited for them in the shadows of the Whittaker house. Sam, Joe, and Ellie discussed their collective frustration at this inaction. They believe that Marcus and Sarah are being much too cautious and conservative. They decide to take independent action and visit the Whittaker house by themselves. They decide not to tell the rest of the team, but Ellie secretly writes a brief note and leaves it in her notebook in the hotel room. Silence hung in the hotel room after Marcus's call ended, heavy and uncomfortable. Ellie stared at her phone, jaw clenched, while Sam absently clicked his lens cap on and off, a nervous habit he developed years ago. "So that's it?" Ellie finally said, breaking the tension. "We just sit here and wait while whatever's in that house gets stronger?" Joe ran a hand through his hair. "I'm with Marcus on this one. We need more information before..." "Before what?" Ellie cut him off, rising from the windowsill. "Before it hurts someone else? Before whatever happened to Elmer's brother happens to someone in town? We already know that place is dangerous." Sam set his camera down. "She's got a point. That house has been collecting secrets for over a century. Every day we wait is another day for it to, I don't know, recharge its batteries or whatever demonic houses do." "Demonic houses don't have batteries, Sam," Joe said, but there was no bite to his words. "You know what I mean." Sam crossed to the mini fridge and pulled out 3 waters, tossing one to each Ellie and Joe. "Look, I get Marcus and Sarah being cautious. They're the methodical ones. But sometimes, you just need to act on instinct." Joe caught the water bottle and twisted the cap, considering. "And your instinct says..." That we're wasting time, Sam replied. That place is practically bleeding bad energy into the town. You heard the news report. Animal deaths with ritual markings? That's not teenagers. Ellie nodded vigorously. Exactly. And you both saw what happened with Miranda. That entity, whatever it is, it's not just haunting the house, it's reaching out. Joe took a long drink, his eyes distant. Sarah would say we're being reckless. Sarah would say we need 3 more days of research and a committee vote, Ellie countered, pacing the narrow space between the beds. Meanwhile, that thing is gathering strength. Sam leaned against the wall, arms crossed. What if we just took a look? Not a full-on confrontation, just reconnaissance. Reconnaissance, Joe repeated, the word hanging in the air. Yeah, Sam continued, warming to the idea. We go to the house, take some photos, maybe do a walkthrough of the main floor. No basement, no rituals, no poking the bear. Just gathering intel for the team. Ellie's eyes lit up. We could document the layout, check for symbols like the one Lily's been researching, and be back before morning, Sam added. Give the others something concrete to work with. Joe looked between them, his resistance visibly crumbling. If, and I mean if, we did this, we need rules. No splitting up. No engaging with anything supernatural. And the first sign of trouble, we're out. Of course, Ellie agreed quickly. And we bring protection, Joe continued. Salt, iron, whatever Lily said works against these things. Sam clapped his hands together. So, we're doing this? Joe sighed. The sound of a man who knew he was making a questionable decision but couldn't see a better alternative. I guess we are. Tonight, Ellie insisted, while the others are busy with research. Tonight, Joe agreed reluctantly. They spent the next hour gathering supplies, flashlights with fresh batteries, Sam's camera equipment, a tire iron from Joe's truck, and salt packets lifted from the hotel's restaurant. Sam downloaded the property's blueprints that Sarah had found earlier onto his tablet. Should we tell them? Joe asked as they prepared to leave, glancing at his phone. And have them shut us down before we even start? No way, Ellie replied, zipping up her jacket. We'll be back with valuable information and they'll thank us. Sam nodded in agreement, but something in Joe's expression made him pause. Look, I know it feels wrong not to loop them in, but sometimes you just have to trust your gut, right? And my gut says that house isn't gonna wait for us to finish our homework. Joe hesitated, then nodded. All right, but we're in and out. No heroics. Ellie moved towards the door and then stopped. Hold on. She returned to the bed, pulled her sketchbook from her backpack, and flipped to a blank page. Her pencil moved quickly across the paper. What are you doing? Sam asked. Insurance, Ellie replied, finishing the note. She tore the page out and tucked it between the pages of her notebook, which she left prominently on the nightstand. If you're reading this, we've gone to the Whittaker house. Just reconnaissance. Be back by morning. Don't worry. E. Just in case, she explained, meeting Joe's concerned gaze. But they won't find it until morning, and by then we'll be back with answers. The three slipped out of the hotel room, taking the back stairwell to avoid the lobby where they might run into Marcus or the others. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of approaching rain as they climbed into Joe's truck. Last chance to back out, Joe said, keys in the ignition. Sam adjusted his camera strap. Not a chance. Drive, Ellie said simply. The truck pulled away from the hotel, headlights cutting through the darkness as they headed towards the outskirts of town. None of them spoke much during the drive, each lost in their own thoughts about what waited for them at the Whittaker house. The road narrowed as they left the main highway, trees pressing in on either side like sentinels. Joe's knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as they turned onto the overgrown drive that led to the house. "Kill the headlights," Sam suggested as the dilapidated structure came into view. "No sense announcing ourselves." Joe complied, and they rolled to a stop about 50 yards from the house in the moonlight. It looked even more foreboding than what Ellie remembered, a hulking shadow against the night sky, windows like empty eye sockets staring back at them. "Still think this is a good idea?" Joe murmured. "No," Sam admitted, "but necessary things rarely are." They exited the truck quietly, gravel crunching under their boots. Ellie distributed the flashlights, though they kept them off for now, relying on the moon's glow to guide them. "Remember the rules," Joe said as they approached the sagging porch steps. "We stay together, we document what we find, first sign of trouble, and we're gone." Ellie nodded, her heart hammering against her ribs. The house loomed before them, patient and ancient, as if it had been waiting for their return all along. "Ready?" Sam whispered, his camera already in position. "Ready," Ellie and Joe echoed, though neither sounded convinced. Together, they climbed the creaking steps and approached the front door, unaware that somewhere deep within the house, something had already sensed their arrival and was preparing to welcome them home.